Hi there, it's Anne of Rosie Duck Designs here. Thanks ever so much for joining me today. So, celebration is over, so the question is, what are we going to talk about today? It seems like that's all we've been talking about for the past 3 months. But as always in the world of Stampin' Up, there's always something going on. And the latest product to be launched is in fact a storage system, which is designed to house basically ink pads, stamping blends, stamping right markers. I've got a rather rubbish picture that I've got off of my printer. I think our inks were somewhat questionably low, but that just gives you a bit of an idea of what the new system looks like. But what I would suggest is that, as always, I've got a link, or I will have a link to the online shop at the front of the video. So pop over there and have a look at all the details, because it will show you how there's different trays and how the fact that they all interlink, so you can design the storage system to suit yourself. And there's little lids that you can pop on the top, so we've got like a little flower here to liven up the crafting area. But there's cubes that you can put ribbons in and a little tray for your re-inkers. So basically mix and match and build what you want to do. I am going to be doing a blog post on it, which will have a bit more of the technical information as well. That's on my to-do list. So once I've written that, I will put the link to that again on the front of the video. So that is really the news from Stampin' Up. So I thought it would be nice if we just concentrated on some actual crafting today, rather than me just waffling on about various bits of information. So I have to say, Ollie is with us, but he's actually under the bed, because just before we started there was a big flash of lightning and a big crash of thunder, and that's it. We probably won't see him now for the next few hours. So he's a sensitive little soul, as we all know. But random weather, bearing in mind it's April, pouring with rain. You know, February was lovely, wasn't it? So today I'm using the Stamparatus, however you wish to say that. We're back to that old debate of tomatoes, etc., aren't we? Stamparatus is how it just rolls off my tongue that much better. So I'm going to use that. Now that is £46 and well worth the investment of for a stamp placement tool, I have to say. It comes with 2 of these plastic plates, so you can interchange them top and side. You get this wipeable measuring base on the bottom, and it comes with a little foam pad as well, which you need depending on which type of stamp that you're using. So it also available to buy is the small piece of grid paper, which if you saw my last video I forgot to add to my Stamparatus and had to rip a bit of this up. But it's much nicer if you've got one that actually fits, and I've actually got that today, which probably means I've forgotten something else, but we'll just roll with that. We're used to pausing videos, aren't we? So also available is a little Stamparatus bag. You may recognise the colouring from the tote bag that was available if you joined during celebration. So it's a really lovely colour coordination. Again, that's that lovely silky lining, and there's a padded section here for your. I tend to put my Stamparatus in there, but there's other little pockets here. So I've got my spare plate in there. You can also buy an additional foam mat and 2 more additional plates, and possibly most important is you can buy additional magnets. Now I've just turned mine over and randomly this one has disappeared, which probably means it's stuck to something, but it's okay. I only need one today, so I'm going to have to find that afterwards. No, it's not on the edge. That's what I told everybody I did with it. Sorry, Jim's reminding me what I used to do, what I was doing with it, but no. Who knows where it is? I think I had it on top of your case. And your case has got a metallic handle, so that could be where it is. Otherwise I'll be buying another set of magnets. Anyway, so the mistakes start. So handy little carry case, and that you can buy for £27, or you can buy the whole lot, so the Stamparatus and the bag you can get for £73. So there's no discount on that, but it's just one number that you have to input in the ordering system. So enough about that. So what I'm going to make are these little gift boxes. So they are the Kraft Pillow Boxes, and you get 10 of those for £4.75. So they're ideal little gift bags if perhaps you're having a children's party, perhaps a wedding favour. I'm doing this for people to swap with when I go to on stage. So I've been quite busy with these, but I was also thinking they would make really nice little gift bags for something a little bit more expensive, like a piece of jewellery, or up here. Oh no, it's this one. I've actually used this, and inside I've managed to fit a nail varnish and a lipstick, for example. So you can use it for all sorts of things. Also, maybe a dinner party you could put, if you're having a bit of a posh dinner party. Can't remember the last time we ever had one of them, but if you did, you could always put some chocolates or something like that in it. Or guest staying, a little pillow gift. The possibilities are endless. So how did we make it? So I'm basically going to try and do 4 of these. So putting that to one side, I've got a hand punch here, and if you notice, you've got some, obviously it's covered in little dots which are slightly raised. So I want to punch one end of this. So I found it was easier to just count the dots. So starting there, I've gone 1, 2, 3, 4, and then I've gone in 4. So 1, 2, 3, 4, and that's a bit of welly required there. 1, 2, 3, 4. So then I'm going into that one. So it's quite easy to line up. That's if your eyes don't go funny with the dots. So I'm going to do that with all 4 of them. So perhaps it might be an idea if we just pause while I do that. So the bad news, we've had yet another tablet malfunction, so as another video I shall try to be sticking together. The good news is I've actually found the, well, Jim found it, the other Stamparatus magnet. It was on the other paper trimmer that we've got, which is a metal one, and when he found it I was like, oh yeah, I can remember using that. So good news, bad news. So let's hope this bit works. While I've been off camera, I've punched the other 3 and I've stuck them together to make the little pockets. So what you'll find is you've got one side has got the little lip cut out of it, and then you've got the full edged beveled side on the other side. So, and there is a score line which is difficult to see, but it is there. So folding that in, we want to stick this to that to make the actual little pocket. Now I've got to say the texture of this card does make it quite hard to stick, and it's noticeable that when I came up with this idea, and then it was after that that I thought about looking through the catalogue, and it's noticeable that braid or ribbon has been used to basically secure it, to tie it together. So when I mentioned earlier about the possibility of perhaps putting something like the nail varnish or the lipstick in it, then it would be a good idea to come up with a design that you're actually going to tie the box, tie round it to secure it. But I'm doing my very best to make sure that they stay together. So I've put quite a bit of snail on there, on that side, and then on this side I'm going to add piece of double-sided tape, and I'm putting that more towards this edge so that hopefully that then holds on to this top edge, because I've found that if you don't secure this bit, it rises up quite easily. But I've overcome that by then sticking an extra bit of double-sided tape on here. It's a small gift, it hasn't got to last a lifetime. That's my story and I'm sticking to it. So I'm folding in, again that bit's scored, I'm folding that in, and I've now got my completed pocket that's going to hold the little gift. Now in this bit I'm going to put some ribbon through so that I can actually secure it at the top. So that's my little boxes made. That's kind of the easy bit before I start stamping. So with my Stamparatus, I'm still only going to use one magnet, and I've got a piece of Whisper White card. I'm just going to put that in my Stamparatus, and I'm using the Happy Tales stamp set and the 9 Lives stamp set. So we'll start with the dog. So you get a plain dog basically. So that's your outline. So I'll stick him here. Put my magnet on there. And I'm just coming over with my plate to raise the dog up, and then I can ink him up. Now this is a photopolymer stamp set, so because it's the thin type of stamp, I've got my foam mat on the base of my Stamparatus. If it was one of the new cling stamps or the red rubber stamps, they're thicker, so you don't need your foam mat. So I'm inking him up with some Memento black ink. It's not quite taken on his foot, and that is the beauty with the Stamparatus, because you can just re-ink it and come back. It's very hard to do that when you're stamping by hand. Still not coming up as it is now. So we've got one foot. So we've now got the complete dog. So what am I doing? I'll cut that in across. And just turn that round, stick my magnet over here. That's good. So I'm going to ink him up again with my Memento black. So based on however many dogs you want, then carry on stamping out as many as you require. Now you've got obviously the basic outline of the dog, so you could just add colour of like a golden Labrador or something. You could use that with perhaps a stamping blend, or blender pens on your ink pads. Or the stamp set actually comes with other choices, and you've got the choice of the spotty dogs, I like the Dalmatian, and this is really where the Stamparatus comes into its own. So we need to, let me just clean my plate off. Should have bought some kitchen roll in, but never mind. Hands are full. So, as I say, this is where the Stamparatus is going to come into its own, because I want to line the stamp up with the dog, and it's It's not an easy process, I have to say, even with the Stamparatus, but you stand a lot more chance using this than you do just a pad and an eye, like your eye basically. So I'm lining up the two top spots, so they're the spots that are going to go onto his ear, and then I'm just checking the rest of his body to make sure that they're not coming over the edges. And because they're photopolymer, they do just sort of slightly bend into the shape that you want them. So I think that's pretty good. Famous last words. So I'm picking the stamp up and the paper. I think I'm actually going to go with 2 magnets. And I'm going to try not to stick them. So that's actually moved. Try not to stick the magnets together. I've done about 25 of these, not all with the Dalmatian, but there's pressure when you're doing it on film, as we all know. So again, I'm lining it up with his ear. Just talk amongst yourselves. We normally have a cat to entertain us, don't we? But I think he's in hiding for the day. So, yeah. So, black and white spotty dog. I would say drum roll, but I really don't want to build this moment up. No, it's okay. Huge sigh of relief. So we have a spotty dog, 2 magnets at different parts of the desk. So what I want to do now is cut him out using the coordinating dog builder punch, which is this one. Now that is available separately if you just want pictures of like stamped out dogs, or you can buy this as a bundle with the stamp set. So again, all the product details will be on the front of the video. So I'm just lining up the dog with my punch. And this little punch also has a heart. So if you're looking for little red hearts, which I have used that on one of the cards I made during Celebration, they're brilliant little hearts if you've got a sort of a romantic type of card to make. So that's my spotty dog. Now I'm not going to do it, but there is a little collar here, so you could heat emboss that in a different colour. So you could use one of the in colour embossing powders, or you could do a black collar. No point doing a white one because it won't show up. But so you can add that little bit of detail to him. And let's put him up there. And now we've got his friend. I'll try that off in a minute. So we've got this other stamp in here, which enables you to do like a patch dog. So, a little bit concerned that that's going to be a bit hard to feed into here. I'm actually going to do myself another one. No, because it gets, if you cut it there, you've got nothing to feed it into. I will give it a try. I just need a bit of something to feed it in. Might work. We'll try. It's your fault if it goes wrong. Alright? I blame you. Again, we've got a patch to go up on his face, stroke over his ear. This bit is on his chest, and this bit is his rump or rear end, just at the bottom of the tail. Now, I found with this one you do kind of have to bend it round slightly to make sure you get it where you want it, and you certainly can't do this if you've got it on a block. So that fits over his head there, so it's going over his eye. Right, we'll go with that. And I'm using Crumb cake for that one. And we have a spotty dog. Notice the element of surprise in my voice there, because nobody's more surprised than I am that it's actually worked. There you go. So that's the spotty dog. We'll put that back on before we get ink everywhere. Clean this bit off. So we might as well get all the stamping done. Well, let's cut him out first. I tend to cut him out. So you ideally need a little bit more card than I've allowed myself, because you actually want to be able to fiddle around and get the dog in exactly the right place. And if you've got a bit more card that you're not this end, because the stamp bit comes to an end here, but if you've got more card here, it's easier. I was trying to be a little bit too economical. Hopefully if I push him around here. Is this a good idea? Probably not. I make all the mistakes so you don't have to. Yeah, slipped. You've probably got time to go away and make yourself a drink and come back. I'm twitching because I'm on camera. I'll tell you what, should you want to pause that, please? Right, so just to prove it was the same one, there you go. I've got him in position, and I'm lightly pressing down to keep him in place. It's just so much easier doing it without the pressure of the filming. So that's the dog done. So we're going to do, I'll try not to lose those. So we're going to do the same with the cats to show you how that works. And I'm not going to be so careful about how much card I'm using this time. So again, you get the little outline of your cat. So let's put him on there. Stick that magnet up there. And again, I'm using Memento black ink to give me the outline of the cat. I'm having a whole new piece of card. Worthy expense. Seriously. Oh, goodness sake. It just gets better, doesn't it? I think that actually could be too hard to get that apart. Me too. No, we do it afterwards, don't worry. before we all lose the will to live, let's just get on with it. I need my director, but he's definitely not coming out anytime soon. I've got a bit of a missing bit on the tail there. I'm going to do another one. Got a little bit over inked. That will do. So, what are we doing now? Who knows? So let's go back to this one. Stick our stuck together magnets on there, and we've got an eye on this stamp, and we're trying to line that up with his eye on here, and then that takes it onto the ear, and then just moving that across, you've then got it onto his body, and hopefully you've got those on his tail. So let's go with that. Just turn that round so it's dry. So we've got the black and white version of the cat, and again we've got the coordinating punch with that. So let's get him cut out. Let's get the magnets over there somewhere. 20 minutes. Probably means the video will stop, and I'll have 3 to stick together. So I'm lining that up, and because I've got a nice big piece of card this time, it's a lot easier. So I've got a black and white cat, and then finally I want, of course, a ginger cat. Even if I've not got one in my video, I need to have a ginger one, really, don't I? I hope you're having a nice sleep under there, Ollie. It's only one clap of thunder. I think you're milking it a little bit, I have to say. So we've got a tabby version, so you could obviously use something like Smoky Slate if you're looking for a grey tabby. But as I say, only seems right we should have a ginger one. So again, I'm lining it up with his ears and his head. And this isn't something you can rush, because if you do, it just goes all over it goes out of the lines, and you finish up having to do it again anyway. So a bit of patience, something I'm not particularly good at, but you're doing a number of them, it's worth that bit of effort. So picking that up, and I'm using a bit of poetic license really. I'm using Grapefruit Grove, but it was the closest I'd got to sort of a gingery colour. Just pop that down there, and we've got a gingery sort of tabby. we just want to punch that one out. So much quicker when you've got some paper to move around. So I've now got all my cats stamped out and my dogs. So let me just put all the ink away. That off. Put that down there. So we've used the punch. So we need now just to put them all together. So I've cut out, this is the Gingham Gala suite. Now I've cut out there's 5 different colours. The one that's missing is Balmy Blue, which is this one. So that's the Balmy Blue colour. And we've got Grapefruit Grove, Daffodil Delight, Highland Heather and Lemon Lime Twist. Now I've cut that out using one of the layering oval framelits. And this one is 2.5 inches across. And then I've got a smaller one which is 2 inches across. But you get a whole load of different sizes to choose from. And you get the crinkle edges and you also get some plain edges. So in this instance I've used 2 lots of crinkle. So there. And I've been using that colour and that colour for my cats. So I'll carry on with that. And so I've cut the smaller ones out of the coordinating cardstock. I'm sticking that on, and there's not very much of a border, so just be careful how you're centralising that, so you've just got a little tiny bit of border around it. So kind of do as I suggest, not do as I'm doing, I think is the order of the day. Let me just have a quick sip of this. Might be the answer. Now I've gone with it comes with the bigger squares on one side and the smaller ones on the other. I've gone with the smaller ones because it's just a small project. I've now stuck the wrong side. Oh dear me, never mind. So you're sticking the card and you're sticking the card onto the paper. So I'm going to get myself out of this big hole and I'm going to put my Stampin' Dimensionals on the top here because it's not going to matter. It's just going to make it a bit harder for me to work. Now I want this bit, I want all the folds, I want them at the back, so I've got like a clean edge at the front. So let me just take those off. And I'm just going to stick that on the front with the Stampin' Dimensionals. Which, when you're sticking, because it's beveled, I think this is why it's proving hard to stick paper. And this was my original design, but it just doesn't work unless you then tie some cord round it, which is what I've done on that one. But I decided that was too much like hard work, so I readjusted the design just to go with this. And because you're sticking it on the most solid piece of the box, then I'm not having a problem with that sticking. So I'm taking my cat, stick him on there. Now what I've also been doing is sticking a little stamp addition on here. This has got meow on it. Again, I'm doing that in Memento Black. Whether that's going to work, let's go for it up here. I'm flattening that a little bit. That's good. So I wouldn't be doing that normally, I'd be doing it the proper way, but I've just dragged myself out of a bit of a hole there. So let's try and do this one properly, and I'm going to add the black and white cat to this one. So I've stuck my card onto my paper. I'm sticking my cat onto the card and paper. And then I'm just getting my little stamp with meow on it. So much easier when you're doing it on a flat surface. So Stampin' Dimensionals, 3 seems to be more than sufficient. Okay, making sure I've got the tidy edge at the front. Sticking my little cat on the front there. Now there's a choice, I'll use both. You want to pause it, do you? Okay, right, we're going to pause to save it turning itself off. So to prevent this becoming too long and too boring, off camera I've put together the 2 dogs, and in the dog stamp set you've got this little stamp that says rough rough, so I thought I'd stay with the sounds theme, but there's also a really cute little bone in there, bone and a heart, let's try again, a bone and a paw. But I've also used this little heart stamp on other cards. Oh, you've come back, have you? He came out. Oh, we're going to go back. He came out and then he went very gingerly off down the stairs. Well, it wouldn't have been a video without your appearance, would it? Anyone would think you were trying to hold out for more money. I wouldn't sniff that. No, that's seriously, that's a baby wipe. That's a baby wipe. That smells really funny. Is that it? Okay. See you later. At least you've come out. That's something, isn't it? So, where I was now. So yeah, the little heart stamp I've used on a little anniversary card and things like that. So that's quite useful. Nice little stamp set. Both of these, if you've got friends or if you yourself are into pets, as we are. And sadly, when you own a pet, there does come a time when you do have to say goodbye to it, and much as I don't like to think about it, this little stamp here is really good, works for any pet that somebody may have, and they are part of the family. If you've got pets, you totally get that. And I think just to acknowledge the fact that somebody's suffering because they've lost an animal is, you know, it's a nice thing to do, because if you've had pets, we've all been there, and it's very sad. But anyway, moving on to happier things. So I've done my dogs and I've done my cats, and I've threaded those 2. So I'm using the polka dot Whisper White tulle ribbon, which I thought went quite well with the dots on here, and I'm also using the linen thread, which again I thought that those 2 colours went well together. And what you can do, I'm not going to do loads of this, but you can actually fray this so that when you've tied your bow and you're happy with it, you can just fray the edges so it becomes much more of a delicate end effect, or you can just cut off the end and make it so it's like a solid end. So the choice is yours. Personally, I think it looks quite nice, fluffed up a bit. So just before I did that, not everybody has a big shop. I'm still getting hand signals. I'm trying to cut this down. So I just sort of thought, what could I think of that you could use if you didn't have a big shop? Because obviously these are both punches. So this was the Starburst punch, I believe it's called, and I've used that to cut this out from, again, the Gala Gingham designer series paper. Now I have to say, I think this is more effective, but you know, if you haven't got something, how do you improvise, really? So I've done my cat, and I'm just going to stick him onto that little cut-out circle, and gives a different effect. I'm not going to stick it on because I want to carry on with the theme I've been doing, but if I can just tiny bit there, just give you the idea. So just another idea. Let me carry on. I've stuck my dimensionals on this one, and sticking that in the middle. I have to say, I've enjoyed using this paper because it's brought me back to Lemon Lime Twist, which I have to say was one of my favourite colours. Kind of got a bit overtaken when we got Granny Green Apple with the colour revamp, but it's been nice to revisit that, especially with the fact that that will soon be leaving us. So now I'm going to thread this, and you need to thread it through the bottom, the back bit. Not the easiest of things to thread, I have to say. Nails possibly help. Not when you've been cleaning or gardening. And you're bringing it over here, and we're coming through the other side there. So that means when you then flap it down there, you've got these two ends to feed through the holes here. So you then finish up with your two ends at the top here for the bow. Now I've cut off about 12 inches of, or slightly over, I've gone a bit generous on that one. But here's the polka dot ribbon, which is slightly easier to thread. You don't know what to do with yourself, do you, young man? Whether to stay or go. I think the problem was we had last year, out of nowhere, there was this horrendous big clap of thunder, and they were never bothered with it, but that suddenly, it's definitely unnerved him. He was up the stairs under the bed before the thunder had stopped rumbling. I expect he'll get over it by dinner time. So we've done that, flap that down, and then just feed it through the front bit. Hand signals again, putting me under pressure, and I know I'm waffling, and as usual it goes so much better when I'm not on camera. So I'm just rolling that up. You're like a yo-yo, backwards and forwards, aren't you? Right, so there we go, flapping that down, and you've got your two ends to tie the bow with, obviously having filled it up. Now what I've been putting in these is it's not a great bow. I haven't finished with it. In fact, it's a rubbish bow. Never mind. I'll deal with that later. What I've been putting in these is some old-fashioned sweets that we all liked when we were children, and a little keyring that I've made. I've made the keyring obviously, but I've put the insert in the keyring, and that is just a piece of designer series paper. Now I'm aware I've gone on a bit too long as usual, so I'll revisit this idea because I thought this was quite good. It's certainly something I'm going to be doing when I send out the new catalogues. So every new catalogue I send out will have one of these key rings featuring some of the new design series paper. So I think that's where I'm going to leave it. I've got some magnets to detach from each other and some rubbish to clear up. So links as usual on the front. If you've enjoyed the video, if you've had a good laugh, then please do give me a thumbs up. And if you'd like to subscribe to my channel, that would be great. All that happens is you get to be advised when I've uploaded the video, and you choose whether or not to watch it. Depends how much of in need of a laugh you're feeling on that day. So the product details all on the front, and I will be back again to look at the idea of how we can use some of the boxes available in the catalogue to make little gift boxes. And I'm going to be featuring this box on my next video. So now you're going to get lively, are you? It's too late now. So until next time, thanks, as I say, for joining me, and I will see you very soon. Until then, take care. Bye.